right. Welcome everybody. How are you guys? Doing a quick sound check. I believe audio is coming through and the video as well. Just type away something if you can hear me, if you can see me okay. Thomas, welcome. Alejandro, welcome. Rajon, Karim, hello, glad to have you. The Conscious Trader, Yanis, how are you? How's Bali treating you? Fantastic. I think we're good, so let's get started over here. Guys, welcome everybody. My name is Saul, glad to be with you. Welcome to the trading room. Not getting sound. Hello all the rest. Can you tell me if you can hear me? James, sounds good. Okay, so Thomas, I believe something on your end. Before we get started, please remember everything we're going to discuss here is only the way I approach the markets, and I understand the markets and the charts, and I manage my trades and approach markets. So anything here is not meant to be a buy or sell signal on any instrument, any time frame. Please, we do this only for educational purposes. Do be responsible for your own trading. Hopefully you can get some principles from here and apply it to your own strategies and situations. With that being said, as on every Monday, we're going to review the larger time frames. We're going to go through the dailies to scan if there's any middle or long-term opportunity. And if we have time at the end, we might drop to lower time frames and do some training together. We're going to review the fundamentals to see if there's any high impact news that we need to be aware of. But before anything, let me remind you guys about the event we're hosting on June 17, Traders Day Live. Guys, if you're looking for that event that's going to pump your trading and to help you take your trading to the next level, this is it. Okay, the whole team is going to be there, and we'll bring in speakers from all over. Speakers that you don't even have access because they don't have social media. So we bring in institutional traders and coaches and institutional coaches and trainees to meet you all there, so you can meet them. Some of the speakers, let's just we'll have Steve Ward. You might, if you don't know him, it's because he trains institutional traders. Okay, so we're going to get his training from for retail traders, maybe for the first time ever live. Of course, Mike Holstead, you might know him. Martin Tinsley, he's an algorithmic trader and is going to help you out with that. Charlie Burton, you might know him. Chris Tubby, who manages funds. Some big names over here. Of course, the 5ers team, Gary Langley, Jordan, if you know him from Trade Delicious and the 5ers team. The agenda is packed of content, and it's all education and training and workshops and fun and networking, and there's going to be a trading competition. So it's going to be fun and educational and networking, and it's going to be a great day. So do yourself a favor and get a ticket to come to the event if you're in UK, Europe, and we know some guys are coming from Singapore and the US, so they're doing all the long way to come. Platinum tickets are sold out, and we're almost half the way to on the gold ticket, so there's not a lot left, and we have plenty of time. So if you're serious about trading, you need to be there, guys. It's going to really pivot your trading. Now let's close these ones here and let's go into the calendar. Let's review what we have today. Very quiet. Tomorrow, this is going to be a very important event. As you know, the governor for the Bank of Japan he's just starting, Kazuo Ueda, and he has I hope I pronounced that properly, but he has different visions of what the economy of Japan should look, and he has some dovish approaches to the market. So he's speech tomorrow is going to be key of trying to understand what he wants to accomplish regarding the economy of Japan. Okay, so many times I tell this speech tend to bring volatility, and we try to understand what's going to be the monetary policies in the countries. But this time, it's a new governor who's going to speak for the first time, and yeah, we'll see what we can understand from his policies, and where is he trying to head the economy of Japan with all the challenges it's facing. So it's going to be interesting. So that's tomorrow, Tuesday. So keep an eye open on that. GDP in Canada, volatility, but not a lot of surprises. Consumer confidence. CPI in Australia, trying to bring that inflation down. Still very high. I believe there's still room for more increments in the interest rate in Australia. It's also a country that is not unfamiliar with having high interest rates, so it wouldn't be a surprise to keep seeing that. But I believe also that's already priced in charts. So we'll see the AUD-USD pair to see how is that behaving. But overall, those CPI has been very important lately. So we'll see how that's going to be a big one for this week. Peaks, volatility, PMI. Don't believe it's going to be much more than volatility. Bank of New Zealand, governor speaks. So again, some movement over there, and ISM services PMI. So if we if we need to choose what's going to be the most mover, this picture right here, and CPI in Australia. Okay, the rest, there will be volatility, but they don't tend to be trend initiators. Okay, so just be aware of those ones. And there's something funny happening in the in the charts. If we see the dollar index, we see how lately has been strengthening. It seems like we formed a fresh demand back here, and look at how this chart, the dollar index, is looking very similar to the dollar yen chart. Okay, we have this the push down, channel down, and then push to the upside. So we have something similar: push down, channel down, and now push to the upside. And we'll see how we can try to get some advantage of that movement happening in the dollar yen, specifically once we go to the charts. But overall, we can see how the dollar is strengthening, which is always hard to explain the fundamentals with the technicals. We see the inflation in the US starting to go down, so we do not expect a lot of interest rates increments anymore, or not aggressive ones, and yet we see the dollar currency is strengthening. Okay, there's demand back to the dollar, so we'll see what's happening with that. Let's jump into the charts. Let's see what's happening before that. Gabriel Blake, welcome. Fred, Anna, good to see you. Patrick, is there any way we can attend the event if we're not staying in Europe? Patrick, where are you from? Unfortunately, we're not going to be broadcasting or streaming the event. So rights of the speakers want to have the content. They want to keep the rights of their content, so we're not allowed to stream their content. So we will record it for marketing purposes afterwards, but there's no way to attend virtually or something like that. But I think if you're not very far from the UK, it's worth Singapore. Quite far. There's people from Singapore coming, so I don't know it's worth the effort, but maybe you can plan maybe a holiday or something like that, and jump into the event. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way. We're not going to be streaming it. Yeah, the conscious trader Yanis, I agree with you. Breaking down the dollar index gives you a lot of insight on what the currency is doing. Specifically, the dollar index is very based on the euro. What's happening with the euro USD? So they tend to look like a mirror. So we'll go to the charts and we'll see euro. So we have this same consolidation we have on the dollar index, and then the push down and the challenge and break. So we have something kind of similar on the euro. So we have the push, the movement up, and now that push to the downside. So the euro really influenced the dollar index. Hey, so I have already bought a ticket. I will see you there. Monir Basari, glad to have you. Where are you coming from? As for the dollar, I think they have revised inflation up recently, so this made investors expect more hawkish tone for longer from the Fed. Okay, good insight there. Thanks for that. Now let's get into the. I'm amazed sometimes how the we have been quite accurate, with our readings. I always say, new information makes me wiser, and I tend to change my analysis with what happens with new information. But we spot some key levels, and we said that would be the targets for the market. So remember back here, we also had a mid-range demand back there here, and we said I believe we're going to go all the way to the extreme demand, which is right here. And now this I have it drawn from last. I haven't touched it from last week, and just please see, I want to show you how accurate is fantastic. So we draw that, the demand area, and we were seeing the reaction, at the pip from that area. And now it's a hard, it's hard to tell where we're going now. Okay, there will there be enough buyers there to push the market all the way to the tops, or is this going to be only a push higher and then a continuation? Okay, let me see what's going on the hour list. If we see from the hour list the way we went down, okay, we see the channel. Okay, we see it was not as aggressive, and I'll show you the difference. Okay, from extreme demand, okay, from the top we had strong pushes. Okay, you can see this strong push to the downside. But from there, from the middle of the range to the bottom of the range, we kind of channeled. Okay, so that's a weak movement. This is a weak movement to the downside. I think if there's enough buyers back in the demand zone, there shouldn't be a problem to push. If we can manage to break that little supply area, there shouldn't be anything important there to stop a movement to the high side. There's a little bit of supply over there, and of course more supply there. Okay, so if there's good buyers there, I think we can see a push to the upside. But I'm really neutral on my bias. I don't have enough information on the euro. It's different from other pairs I'll review right now, but the euro seems really balanced. Okay, if we get there, I wouldn't be very urgent to be selling this level or to be selling that level. The only key supply I do see is all the way, here, and of course the extreme. That being said, I don't know how many buyers are back this reaction we're seeing now. So probably there won't be a lot, and if we see weak movement, okay, on the hour list, if we see a weak movement, something like this, a channel going towards those supply areas, that might be a good opportunity to sell. So if I need to decide on a bias for this pair, I go neutral. Okay, I will be very, very cautious on buying or selling until we get to stronger levels. So if we get to these supply areas, the extreme ones, I'll be very keen on selling. If we go on the mid-range supplies we spot, I really need to see how price action is forming there to decide if I'm selling or I will hold until we get to the next level. So I'm quite neutral in the Euro USD. I'll show you all pairs that are more bearish bias. So probably that's going to influence also my bias on the Euro along the week. But just from what I can tell you now, I'm neutral. Pound USD. We saw last week this pin bar, and we analyzed the difference between what was forming here and the pin bar that was formed on on dollar yen, and we said the dollar yen one is going to fail, and indeed that failed. Okay, we will not see a push lower because we saw there was not a lot of supply forming that bar. In the case of the pound, there was a little bit more of demand behind that price, that candlestick formation, and we saw a little pop to the upside, and that didn't hold. We're back on the bottom of the consolidation, and just let me see. Okay, so that was the pin bar. That's the pin bar, and we had some follow through, and since there we're all the way down to the extreme low. So right now we're reacting from that demand. We see the push higher, but again, I can't tell how strong that moment is going to be. So we are at a very important area right now, because if we manage to break to the upside, similar to the euro, there won't be a lot of resistance there or supply to break those levels. So again, on the pound, I'm kind of neutral, bit bearish, more bearish than euro. New Zealand though and Australia, we'll see we have a different situation, and we said even though there's an increase in interest rate, we haven't seen that reaction to the upside, and that really pretty much opens the door to the opposite to happen. In Australia, AUD USD looks, I'll show you in a minute, but here we have seen the low already, the break of the low, which is significant, and we'll see if we have some demand here to break to stop this from going aggressively to the downside. But overall, we can see we have a lot of important movement to the downside. We can see we're approaching, we're breaking down, not in a channel, but we had the range and a strong break to the downside, okay, which is different in price action to what we saw on the euro, for example. Okay, we're breaking strongly and we're staying longer on the extreme low. So my bias for Kiwi USD is pretty much bearish. So I'll try to get advantage of pullbacks to the upside to try to sell the market. Let me see what's happening around this area on the hourlies. I'll try to confirm if there's some demand back there. Let's find out. Wait. Okay, so we're speaking of this area. Let me zoom in a little bit, and we can see there's not a lot of demand. Okay, we see we came from a consolidation, but the breaks to the upside are not very significant. So we had this little break, and we have retested that, and we continued from there. So we're already trading below that demand, this demand right here. I don't see any significant demand here. I do see demand back here. Okay, look at this demand area. So let me mark that. So going back to our dailies, it's quite low, huh? I don't think we're going to hold that level. Something might change, and we have a speech of the governor of the Bank of New Zealand. So new demand might be created, real time. I cannot predict that. But if there was no news involved and no fundamentals involved, I will be shorting this all the way to demand, which is down here. We have a lot of pips to run, almost 300 pips. Now, I'm not saying we're going to see a crash down to those levels, but we saw together there's not a lot of support. There's not a lot of key areas to hold a break to the downside. Okay, so my bias for the New Zealand USD is going to be bearish, and that needs to to affect my bias also on euro and pound, because if this is a USD behavior, so it's going to affect also the pound and also the euro. So if I'm seeing this clear strengthening of the dollar against the Kiwi, there might be something similar on the euro and the pound. Okay, but in price action and levels is less clear. And now let's go to an important one, which is dollar yen, and just let me go through the coming from Norway, Munir. Great. I think your breakout on USD is pretty accurate based on supply and demand zone, but at least weak gold did not follow your script based on time frame, supply and demand zone. We'll look into that. What happened to gold last week? Considering your breakdown of the dollar index analysis is great. Already booked my ticket to the event. Fred, good. Where are you coming from? GBP or USD? We'll go into that in a minute. So dollar yen, we saw there was no. My bias here is the clearest, probably is to the bullish side, and we'll have a look into that. So we saw how we're breaking, the channel we were following. That's kind of compression. Now, of course, we're going to be testing the supply there. I'm going to trade more accurately, but we saw we're pushing strong from these demand areas. We saw that pin bar we said is going to fail because there was no supply, and we have what it looks like a good demand area, new demand forming from last hours, that area. Let me see how's the supply looking. Okay, so we're right now, that's a strong supply, so that's going to be, we should see a reaction of that supply area. We saw how significant it is, and that supply area should bring us back to this demand area at least, and I will need to see, I really need to see how price action gets there. And we said sometimes it's as important how the price approaches a level than that the level is approaching. Okay, the how is more important than the where. So if this approaches as a compression to the buying area, I'll feel confident on buying. If we approach very aggressively, we might break, because it's hard to tell. There's a lot of demand here. I don't see any very large candles forming, but so it's hard to tell if this is going to hold or not. So if that doesn't hold, we might see a movement to other demand areas, such as this one or that one, and those would be good opportunities for buying. Okay, my bias here remains bullish, but mindful that we're reacting a very strong supply area. Of course, if that supply area gets broken, we should have no problem going all the way to that level. Okay, so we did approach it kind of aggressively. Okay, we approached the supply area aggressively. Okay, we're coming from an impulse and not from a channel. We're right now consolidating, and from there we'll see if we push lower or we continue higher. If this consolidation breaks aggressively to the high side, there should be enough momentum behind to break the supply area, and from there to continue to the next supply area. So we'll keep an eye on how this develops. My bias stays bullish, and that is also related to the pound yen we analyzed last week, and we established the breakout. We said there's a gap here. Okay, that there's not a lot of supply all across the gap. We should be targeting next supply, which is there. We broke, we retest, and we're reacting. Pretty accurate, of course. Sometimes our readings work, sometimes they do not work, but here we had a breakout, the retest of the breakout area, and now we're reacting. If we manage to break the support area, okay, this one, we might see what it could be enough to break all the way to the supply area. So my bias here is long. So long GBP USD, JPY, long USD JPY, short New Zealand USD, neutral GBP USD, neutral Euro USD. Let me bring Aussie. Yeah. So the Aussie dollar, the difference with the New Zealand dollar is we haven't broke the low. Okay, we saw that on the Kiwi we broke already the low. Here we have some support left, but to see how. Okay, there was no reaction to that demand. Okay, we had that demand that we didn't react to. So we only have, if there's any there, okay, from that demand. So we had this little push demand that was real-time demand. We reacted to real-time demand and we created that movement and continuation to that. So this was supposed to be a really good buying area that is not holding, and besides that, there's nothing else. Okay, all the way to these areas. So if we don't see a reaction of, around now, there shouldn't be a problem breaking these levels. We saw there's not a lot of demand, and we might see a continuation lower. So that's similar to the Kiwi one. Manchester, UK no far. Great, Fred. Now the trend is long. Herman, I'm guessing you're talking about AUD USD. So yeah, I don't see a trend long. If any, I see like a no trend area, and we see there's not a lot of demand here, so we might break to the upside. And if we do hold, there's plenty of supply to sell the market. Okay, so if we do have a push from this area and it's a weak push, then we'll have these supply areas to sell. Speech before entering the market. His speech might introduce new supply zone tomorrow. Agree, Patrick. And we said tomorrow we have the speech. That's going to be key, because that might be, it's going to be like the first time we listen to him and we try to understand what's his monetary policy, and that might create real-time demand or real-time supply. So what the next movement on dollar yen might not be a reaction from past demand or supply, but new key zone being created because of that speech. So yeah, that's a good point. Hernan, you only trade gold. That's good, because we're going to analyze gold. What's your view on gold? Long-term bullish, long-term bearish. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you what I see here, and I see bad news for gold. Okay, we had the pin bar, and we saw the difference between this pin bar and the one we saw on dollar yen. Now we saw that pin bar was formed with some demand behind. Okay, it's this V formation. So there was demand. We reacted to the demand. Okay, we approached that. We reacted, and we failed to make the turn into the upside. Okay, so we push lower aggressively. We're pressing. We had the opportunity to reverse. Okay, to push higher, and we're just not getting that. And if we see past supply and past demand, we'll see we had already, that was a key demand right there. Okay, you can see that movement there, but we have already been trading at those levels, and we failed. Okay, at those levels, we had this V here, that's the pin bar. So that was the opportunity to make the turn. Now the fact that we're not making the turn, that just tells me we're going down. Okay, and if we try to understand, to read what we have left, okay, we're trading right now here. There's nothing. Just you see, there's nothing left. There's no demand here to stop an aggressive move to the downside. So if there's something holding the market from falling aggressively, it's psychology. It's just only the psychology. The fact that we're approaching the 1800 level, you know, people might want to be buying at that level, but we saw on detail that the demand was above. The demand was here. There's no demand at those levels. The confirmation of a breakout to the upside was way up, and we already failed on reacting to that level, to that demand. So who knows? Something might happen. Maybe again from you know, from the speech tomorrow, Bank of Japan. Again, we might see a new demand being created real time, and we have the psychology playing the role that has to play. But if I'm only looking at the technicals, I need to be short. Okay, I don't think it's going to hold. Okay, my bias is bearish. It has its opportunities to make the turn and to go up, and just failed every time. So now I want to be more bearish biased. You know, we have this area, we have that area, and of course if we go higher, we have even more areas. But there's a psychology. Okay, there's the rounded number, 1800 levels. People might want to be active and buying there. If that doesn't hold, guys, we have nothing here to prevent a strong breakout to the downside. So that's for gold. So my biases again is short. No, I'm not saying I'm jumping short right now. Again, during the week, my analysis might change because market changes and I have new information and new analysis and new fundamentals and high news out there. But just what I can tell from what I see here, short gold USD, short Kiwi USD, long both pound yen and dollar yen. Those are my bias. Open the market, spike up, QQQ2. Let's see if ETF close the gaps. All right, just the market opening right now. Patience. Okay, guys, anything? My opinion on pound CAD and AUD CAD, Patrick. Let's look at those. Without opening the charts, I'm pretty sure I'm short AUD CAD, just because of the correlation with the dollar. So let's see if there's any difference. Okay, you can see it's pretty much the same. Both charts look pretty similar, so I will be short. Pound, let's see, pound's a bit different. So yeah, this is a nice one. So here we're coming from a very what it looks. Let me do a zoom in, but it looks like a very strong demand. And let me see if there's any supply here. Of course, you know, not a lot of trend. So let me see how that looks on detail. This is a nice pair. Massive demand. Okay, that's a key one. So we're coming from that massive demand. Tends to be continuation. Mid-range demand, important. And we're kind of pushing, right? Like we're getting strength to the upside. I like this one. Now let me just see if there's supply back here. Yeah, there is some. So you see, like from this area, once we broke to the downside, we didn't come back. Like there was break to the downside, kind of hesitation, but continuation. There was a strong supply here. Let me see what happened there. Okay, we broke that one. I think we're going up. There will be resistance here. That's a nice pair. So we had this. That was an important supply, and we broke that. So that behaves like a swap zone. Okay, that supply becomes a demand area, and there's a resistance here, but not super strong. if we come from very strong demand areas, I think we're going to break that one until next levels. So any pullback, I'll be looking, I'll be long. So yeah, so GBP AUD, this is a nice pair. It's not a pair I follow, but this is a very nice setup, a very clear one. You know, we have very strong demand being respected, breaking those supplies. So I think we're heading up to those levels. Expect resistance here, so expect those pullbacks from this pivot. But I would be buying. In fact, I might go long. Okay, I'll go to the 1 minute chart, and I will be waiting for a pullback to that level and buying. I'm just not very familiar with the volatility of this pair, pound AUD. Let's see what happens. Let's just keep risk smaller than usual. Whoop. We'll see if I have a deeper pullback. I will try to do some pips here. Challenge on a 1 minute chart, you're missing the tick information, right? You don't know what happens here. So I'm just like testing the market to see if there's anything, if there was tick support and tick demand, you know, across this these 1 minute charts, because we missed those ones. We don't have that information, at least not on the MT5. So let's see if we can have this little pumps to the upside. Okay, so we see the tails. We see there's buyers interested. We see if they can hold and push the market higher. Okay, so that's the tail. Let's see if we can have the turn. We need to turn that, right? If we fail, if we break that was a peak on the tick chart. Okay, if we open the tick chart, let's open up. Where is it? Let's see if we can find that. Yeah, what level was this? 88.95. Yeah, so it's this tick right here. So we can see the formation of this pin bar on the 1 minute chart. You can see it was a strong push to the downside, a strong push to the upside, and we're just moving sideways. Now, if that breaks that, if it breaks the low, we might see continuation lower, correct? All the way to next tick demand, which I don't know where is it. Okay. Hard to tell. So there's the break. Now we see the break on the tick chart. We see it's a strong break. It's not a channel break. We're breaking strong. Okay, so this is like the X-rays of the market. Now approaching the area where I initially wanted to be a buyer, which is down here. I haven't got there. Okay, you can see the. I cannot draw anything, but you can see there's a little supply that was formed to the downside. We broke that. That brings the bias again back to the upside, to the bullish side. now we have nice demand, tick demand here formed. Let's see if we can have some continuation. If we can break all this resistance level, we should have no problem to go for a retest of the highs. Okay, but I'll leave the tick charts. Might be confusing for some of you guys. I'm sure you get asked all the time how you get that fract box you have on the screen. So this is the depth of market. So I only use it for, you know, placing trades quickly with targets and take profits with stop loss and targets in place. So that's it. You're professional, never entry against the trend. I'm not going against the trend. I established the trend is to the upside, right? We see on the 1 minute chart. So the trend is to the upside. I'm just fading the market. I'm trying to get the next movement to the upside instead of waiting for confirmation. So I just try to spot where a possible turn might be, and I fade the movement. Okay, that way I earn the spread and I can get more accurate entries. Sometimes has some advantages and unadvantages. But what I do is I break my entries into different levels. So I start very, very slow, and as price goes against me and I get more confirmation, I add into my positions. Okay, so but I'm not trading against the trend, right? The trend is bullish, I'm going bullish. So with the trend, I'm just fading my entry. Yeah, it is extended. We can see it overextension, and that's why I'm expecting a pullback. But I'm taking all of that into account. But I'm expecting if it's going to move down, it's not. I'm just hoping it's not going to crash down. It's going to, even if it's going to go against me, is going to go against me, but a little pops to the upside that will give me the opportunity, you know, to make money against, you know, along the way. So I guess my stop for this setup would be below this area, somewhere there. So I'll see how price action behaves across this area. We're right now approaching the area that I really want to be active in the market. I'll see how price behaves here. We'll see if it gives me the opportunity to buy again, and then I'll adapt my position. If we fail to break that area, I will close this trade, and I'll wait for next key area, which will be down there. Okay, so now look what's happening. So we're going down, but we're compressing. Okay, you see how this movement, okay, look at this movement, that's an impulse, and we're now slowing down. Okay, so it's going against me, but the fact that we're pressing, okay, we're compressing towards the area I'm looking to buy, that it gives me confidence. Okay, I just need this to not crash down, okay, to not get momentum against me, to not create a movement like this, an impulse to the downside. As long as it stays pressing that way, I'm happy. Okay, I think if we continue with that movement all the way to my buying area, I'll be happy to buy. Yeah, Hernan, if you have a bootcamp, you do have to use stop loss, which is a very good habit. This is not a bootcamp account, so it's fine. Okay, we managed to break, you know, those past resistance. We should be going all the way to a retest of the highs. That would be the trade. Struggling, huh? There you go. Okay, that's a little scalp, but I really like this setup. I really like it. So thanks for the heads up. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap up. As always, thanks for coming, and thanks for staying. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you, guys.